The morning light filtered through the blinds of Daniel's apartment, casting long, pale stripes across the floor as he straightened. The papers on the table for the third time. The divorce documents had been sitting there for 2 weeks, unsigned, waiting. His lawyer had called twice. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments where in the world are you watching from. His mother had called 5 times. Everyone kept telling him it was just paperwork, just a formality, just the final step in something that had already been broken for a long time. He told himself the same thing every night before sleep refused to come. Daniel and Maya had been married for 4 years. 4 years that began with a love. So loud it filled every room and ended with a silence. So heavy it crushed everything beneath it. They had argued about money, about dreams, about the distance that crept in slowly, the way cold air slips under a door. He had wanted to move to another city for a job opportunity. She had wanted to stay close to her aging mother. Neither of them had been willing to bend, and eventually the weight of all that stubbornness had snapped something between them. He had moved out 8 months ago. She had stopped calling after month 3. The divorce had been her idea, and he had agreed because agreeing felt easier than fighting for something he was no longer sure he deserved. When the knock came at 10 in the morning, Daniel opened the door expecting the version of Maya he had memorized. Sharp eyes, straight posture, the kind of composure that made her look like she had never cried a day in her life. What he saw instead made the air leave his body entirely. She stood in the doorway wearing a loose cream-colored jacket, her dark hair pulled back simply. And beneath that jacket, unmistakably, undeniably, was the rounded fullness of a pregnancy that could not be hidden. His eyes dropped before he could stop them. His mouth opened. No words came. Maya looked at him with an expression that was not quite pain and not quite anger, but something exhausted that lived between the two. She said nothing at first. She simply waited, the way people wait when they already know what question is coming and have rehearsed the answer 100 times. Maya, he finally said, his voice barely his own. How long? She stepped inside without being invited because she had once lived there too, back when it was their home and not just his apartment. She set her bag on the chair and turned to face him. 7 months, she told him quietly. 7 months. The math arrived in his mind before he was ready for it. 7 months meant the baby had been conceived 1 month before he left. 1 month before everything officially fell apart. 1 month before, he had carried his boxes out the door and convinced himself that leaving was the brave thing, the honest thing, the only thing left to do. He sat down slowly on the couch because his legs made the decision before his mind could catch up. He looked at the divorce papers on the table and then back at her and felt something inside him shift, so violently it was almost physical. She had known when she filed. She had known and she had said nothing. He asked her why, and the answer she gave him was one he would turn over in his mind for years afterward. She told him she did not want him to stay for the wrong reason. She did not want a man who came back out of obligation, or guilt, or the fear of being judged. If he had not fought for their marriage when it was just the two of them, she was not going to let a baby be the rope that dragged him back. She deserved a choice made from love, not from duty. And she had decided, quietly and alone, to raise this child with or without him. Daniel stared at the woman in front of him and understood, maybe for the first time in their entire relationship, exactly how much he had underestimated her. He had told himself the story of their marriage as one where both of them had failed equally. But sitting there, watching her stand calm and certain in 7 months full of a life they had made together, he realized he had been the one who stopped trying first. He had chosen comfort over courage. He reached out slowly and put the divorce papers face down on the table. She watched him do it. Neither of them spoke for a long moment. He asked her if she would sit with him, not to make promises, not to pretend the last 8 months had not happened, but just to talk, really talk, the way they had forgotten how to somewhere along the years. She looked at him for a long time. Then she sat down. Outside, the city moved on the way cities do, indifferent to the quiet revolutions that happen inside small apartments between two people who are learning that some endings are not endings at all, but only the most painful kind of beginning. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories, where every story is a reminder that love, even when broken, is always worth understanding.